Then Danel, the man of Rapau, the hero, the man of the Harnemite, girded, he gave the gods food. Girded, he gave the holy ones drink. He cast off his cloak and lay down, put off his garment and spent the night. 1 day passed, and on the second, girded, Danel gave to the gods. Girded, he gave the gods food. Girded, he gave the holy ones drink. A 3rd day passed, and on the 4th, girded, Danel gave to the gods. Girded, he gave the gods food. Girded, he gave the holy ones drink. A 5th day passed, and on the 6th, girded, Danel gave to the gods. Girded, he gave the gods food. Girded, he gave the holy ones drink. Danel cast off his cloak and lay down, put off his garment and spent the night. Then, on the 7th day, Baal approached with his compassion. Danel, the man of Rapau, laments. The hero, the man of the Harnemite, moans. For he has no son as his brothers do, no heir like his kinsmen. Unlike his brothers, he has no son, nor an heir like his kinsmen. Girded, he has given the gods food. Girded, he has given the holy ones drink. So, my father, El the bull, bless him. Creator of creatures, show him your favor. Let him have a son in his house, an heir inside his palace, to set up a stele for his divine ancestor, a votive marker for his clan in the sanctuary, to send his incense up from the earth, a song of his burial place from the dust, to shut the jaws of his abusers, to drive off his oppressors, to hold his hand when he is drunk, to support him when he is full of wine, to eat his grain offering in the temple of Baal, his portion in the temple of El, to patch his roof when it gets muddy, to wash his clothes when they get dirty. El took care of his servant. He blessed Danel, the man of Rapau. He showed favor to the hero, the man of the Harnemite. With passion may Danel, the man of Rapau, live. With desire, the hero, the man of the Harnemite. Let him go up to his bed. As he kisses his wife, she'll become pregnant. As he embraces her, she'll conceive. She will become pregnant, and she will conceive, and there will be a son in his house, an heir inside his palace, to set up a stele for his divine ancestor, a votive marker for his clan in the sanctuary, to send his incense up from the earth, a song of his burial place from the dust, to shut the jaws of his abusers, to drive off his oppressors, to hold his hand when he is drunk, to support him when he is full of wine, to eat his grain offering in the temple of Baal, his portion in the temple of El, to patch his roof when it gets muddy, to wash his clothes when they get dirty. Danel's face lit up with joy, and above his countenance shone. His brow relaxed, and he laughed. He put his feet on a stool, he raised his voice and declared, "Now I can sit back and relax. My heart inside me can relax, for a son will be born to me like my brothers, an heir like my kinsmen, to set up a stele for my divine ancestor, a votive marker for my clan in the sanctuary, to send my incense up from the earth, the song of my burial place from the dust, to shut the jaws of my abusers, to drive off my oppressors, to hold my hand when I am drunk, to support me when I am full of wine, to eat my grain offering in the temple of Baal, my portion in the temple of El, to patch my roof when it gets muddy, to wash my clothes when they get dirty." Danel arrived at his house. Danel reached his palace. The Kotharat entered his house, radiant daughters of the crescent moon. Then Danel, the man of Rapau, the hero, the man of the Harnemite, slaughtered an ox for the Kotharat. He gave food to the Kotharat, drinks to the radiant daughters of the crescent moon. 1 day had ended, and on the second he gave food to the Kotharat, drink to the radiant daughters of the crescent moon. 3 days had ended, and on the 4th he gave food to the Kotharat, drink to the radiant daughters of the crescent moon. 5 days had ended, and on the 6th he gave food to the Kotharat, drink to the radiant daughters of the crescent moon. Then, on the 7th day, the Kotharat left his house, the radiant daughters of the crescent moon. Danel sat and counted the months. Kothar-Wahasses said, "I'll bring the bow there. I'll provide the arrows." And then, on the 7th day, Danel, the man of Rapau, the hero, the man of the Harnemite, got up and sat at the entrance of the gate. Among the leaders of the threshing floor, he judged the cases of widows, presided over orphans' hearings. Then he raised his eyes and looked. 1,000 fields, 10,000 acres at each step. He saw Kothar coming. He saw Hassis approaching. Look! He was bringing the bow. Look! He was bearing arrows. Then Danel, the man of Rapau, the hero, the man of the Harnemite, called his wife. "Listen, Lady Danatiah, prepare a lamb from the flock, for Kothar-Wahasses' appetite, for the desire of the skillful craftsman. Give food and drink to the god. Serve and honor him, the Lord of Egypt, the God of it all." Lady Danatiah obeyed. She prepared a lamb from the flock, for Kothar-Wahasses' appetite, for the desire of the skillful craftsman. After Kothar-Wahasses had arrived, he put the bow in Danel's hands. He set the arrows on his knees. Then Lady Danatiah gave food and drink to the god. She served and honored him, the Lord of Egypt, the God of it all. Kothar left for his tent, the skillful one for his home. Then Danel, the man of Rapau, the hero, the man of the Harnemite, gave the bow to Aqhat. "The best of your hunt, my son. The best of your hunt. Hunt in the temple." Anat poured her cup on the ground. She raised her voice and declared, "Listen, Aqhat the hero. Ask for silver and I'll give it to you. For gold, I'll make it yours. But give your bow to Anat. Let the mistress of the peoples have your arrows." But Aqhat the hero replied, "The strongest ash trees from the Lebanon, the strongest sinews from wild oxen, the strongest horns from the mountain goats, the strongest tendons from the hocks of a bull, the strongest reeds from the vast marshes. Give them to Kothar-Wahasses, so that he can make a bow for Anat, arrows for the mistress of the peoples." But Maiden Anat replied, "Ask for eternal life, Aqhat the hero. Ask for eternal life, and I will give it to you. Immortality, I'll make it yours. I'll make you able to match years with Baal, months with the sons of El. For Baal, when he gives life, makes a feast. He makes a feast for the life given and gives him drink. He sings a song in his honor, a pleasant refrain for him. So I will give life to Aqhat the hero." But Aqhat the hero replied, "Don't lie to me, maiden, for to a hero your lies are filth. A mortal, what does he get in the end? What does a mortal finally get? Glaze poured on his head, lime atop his skull. As every man dies, I will die. Yes, I too will surely die. And I have something else to tell you. Bows are for warriors. Do women ever hunt?" Anat laughed aloud, but in her heart she plotted. "Listen to me, Aqhat the hero. Listen to me while I speak. If I meet you on the path of rebellion, on the proud path, I will make you fall under my feet, you pretty boy he-man." She stamped her feet and left the earth. Then she headed for El. At the source of the two rivers, in the midst of the channels of the two seas, she came to the encampment of El and entered the tent of the king, the father of time. At El's feet she bowed and lowered herself. She prostrated herself and honored him. Then she maligned Aqhat the hero. She slandered the child of Danel, the man of Rapau. And Maiden Anat replied, "Don't rejoice in your well-built house, El. Don't rejoice in the height of your palace. Don't rely on them. I'll smash your head in. I'll make your gray hair run with blood, your gray beard with gore. Then you may call to Aqhat. He can rescue you. To the son of Danel, he can save you from the hand of Maiden Anat." But El the kind, the compassionate replied, I know you, daughter. How angry you can be. Among the goddesses there is no restraining you. Leave, my unscrupulous daughter. You will store it up inside you. Set your heart on whatever you desire. Whoever resists you will be crushed. Maiden Anat left. She headed to Aqhat, the hero, 1,000 fields, 10,000 acres at each step. And Maiden Anat laughed. She raised her voice and declared, "Listen, Aqhat, the hero." Maiden Anat left. She headed to Yatpan, the lady's warrior. She raised her voice and declared, "Let Yatpan turn to the town of Abiluma. Abiluma, the town of Prince Moon." Yatpan, the lady's warrior, replied, "Listen, Maiden Anat, you are the one who would strike him for his bow, for his arrows, not let him live. Pretty boy, the hero, has fixed a meal. He is all alone in the encampment." Maiden Anat replied, "Pay attention, Yatpan. I give the orders. I'll put you in my pouch like a vulture, in my bag like a bird. As a cat sits down to eat, the son of Danel to his meal, vultures will be hovering above him. A flock of birds will be watching. I'll be hovering among the vultures. I'll set you on a cat. Strike him twice on the skull, 3 times over the ear. Make his blood run like a butcher. Run to his knees like a slaughterer. His breath will go out like the wind, his spirit like a breeze, like smoke from his nostrils. I won't let him live." She took Yatpan, the lady's warrior. She put him in her pouch like a hawk, in her bag like a bird. As a cat sat down to eat, the son of Danel to his meal, vultures hovered over him. A flock of birds watched. Among the vultures hovered Anat. She set him over a cat. He struck him twice on the skull, 3 times over the ear. He made his blood run like a slaughterer, run to his knees like a butcher. His breath went out like the wind, his spirit like a breeze, like smoke from his nostrils. And she wept. "For your bow I struck you. For your arrows I did not let you live. Into the water it fell, the bow was broken." Maiden Anat, her hand, like a singer with a lyre at his fingers. For she cut the stones of his mouth, she tore out his teeth. For his staff I struck him. I struck him only for his bow, for his arrows I did not let him live. Yet his bow has not become mine, and in death the first fruits of summer have withered, the ear in its husk. Then Danel, the man of Rapau, the hero, the man of the Harnemite, got up and sat at the entrance of the gate. Among the leaders of the threshing floor, he judged the cases of widows, presided over orphans' hearings. Ugarit raised her eyes and looked. On the threshing floor the greenery had dried. It drooped. It had withered. Over her father's house vultures hovered. A flock of birds watched. Ugarit wept in her heart. She cried inwardly. She tore the clothes of Danel, the man of Rapau, the garment of the hero, the man of the Harnemite. Then Danel, the man of Rapau, cursed the clouds in the awful heat, the rain of the clouds that falls in the late summer, the dews that drop on the grapes. For 7 years let Baal fail. 8, the rider of the clouds. No dews, no showers, no surging of the 2 seas, no benefit from Baal's voice. For the clothes of Danel, the man of Rapau, have been torn, the garment of the hero, the man of the Harnemite. Danel called to his daughter, "Listen, Ugarit, you who carry water, you who collect dew on your hairs, you who know the course of the stars. Saddle an ass, harness a donkey, attach my silver reins, my golden bridle." Ugarit obeyed. She who carries water, who collects dew on her hairs, who knows the course of the stars. In tears she saddled the ass. In tears she harnessed the donkey. In tears she lifted her father. She put him on the ass's back, on the beautiful back of the donkey. Danel went around his dried land. He saw a stalk in the dried land. He saw a stalk in the languishing land. He embraced the stalk and kissed it. I pray the stalk could grow in the dried land. The stalk could grow. The plant in the languishing land. The hand of Aqhat, the hero, would harvest you, place you in the granary. Danel went around the consumed land. He saw an ear growing in the consumed land, an ear growing in the scorched land. He embraced the ear and kissed it. I pray the ear could grow in the consumed land, the plant in the scorched land. The hand of Aqhat, the hero, would harvest you, place you in the granary. These words had just come from his mouth, this speech from his lips, when she raised her eyes and looked. 2 lads were coming. He was struck twice on the skull, 3 times over the ear. Tears poured like quarter shekels. I have news for you, Danel. Beneath a gnat he fell. She would not raise him up. She made his breath go out like wind, his spirit like a breeze, like smoke from his nostrils. They arrived, raised their voices, and declared, Listen, Danel, the man of Rapau, Aqhat the hero is dead. Made in a gnat made his breath go out like wind, his spirit like a breeze. His feet shook, his face broke out in sweat, his back convulsed, his joints trembled, his vertebrae weakened. He raised his voice. When he raised his eyes and looked, he saw vultures in the clouds. He raised his voice and declared, May Baal shatter the wings of the vultures. May Baal shatter their pinions. Let them fall at my feet. I will split open their bellies and look. If there is fat, if there is bone, I will weep. I will bury him, put him into a divine pit in the earth. These words had just come from his mouth, the speech from his lips, when Baal shattered the wings of the vultures. Baal shattered their pinions, and they fell at his feet. He split open their bellies and looked. There was no fat. There was no bone. He raised his voice and declared, May Baal rebuild the vultures' wings. May Baal rebuild their pinions. Vultures, up and fly away. When he raised his eyes and looked, he saw Hirgab, the father of the vultures. He raised his voice and declared, May Baal shatter Hirgab's wings. May Baal shatter his pinions. Let him fall at my feet. I will split open his belly and look. If there is fat, if there is bone, I will weep and I will bury him. Put him in a divine pit in the earth. These words had just come from his mouth, this speech from his lips, when Baal shattered Hirgab's wings. Baal shattered his pinions, and he fell at his feet. He split open his belly and looked. There was no fat. There was no bone. He raised his voice and declared, May Baal rebuild Hirgab's wings. May Baal rebuild his pinions. Hirgab, up and fly away. When he raised his eyes and looked, he saw Samal, the mother of the vultures. He raised his voice and declared, May Baal shatter Samal's wings. May Baal shatter her pinions. Let her fall at my feet. I will split open her belly and look. If there is fat, if there is bone, I will weep. I will bury him. Put him in a divine pit in the earth. These words had just come from his mouth, this speech from his lips, when Baal shattered Samal's wings. Baal shattered her pinions. She fell at his feet. He split open her belly and looked. There was fat. There was bone. From them he took a cat. He wept and he buried him. He buried him. Then he raised his voice and declared, May Baal shatter the vultures' wings. May Baal shatter their pinions if they fly over my son's grave and harm him in his sleep. Kormaim, may what is yours be cursed. Woe to what is yours, Kormaim. For near you, Aqhat the hero was killed. Be always an alien residing in El's temple. Now flee forevermore, from now on and for all generations. He set the end of the staff in his hand. He arrived at Mararat Tagalal Banir. He raised his voice and declared, "Woe to you, Mararat Tagalal Banir, for near you Aqhat the hero was killed. May your root not rise from the ground, your head droop as it is plucked. Now flee forevermore, now and for all generations." He set the end of his staff in his hand. He arrived at the town of Abiluma, the town of Prince Moon. He raised his voice and declared, "Woe to you, town of Abiluma, for near you Aqhat the hero was killed. May Baal blind you now and forevermore, from now on and for all generations." He set the end of the staff in his hand. Danel arrived at his house. Danel reached his palace. The weepers entered his house, the mourners his palace, those who gashed their skin his court. They wept for Aqhat the hero, shed tears for the child of Danel, the man of Rapau. The days became months, the months became years, up to 7 years. They wept for Aqhat the hero, shed tears for the child of Danel, the man of Rapau. Then, in the 7th year, Danel, the man of Rapau, spoke. The hero, the man of the Harnamite, raised his voice and declared, "Leave my house, weepers. Leave my palace, mourners. Leave my court, you who gash your skin." He made a sacrifice to the gods, sent incense up to heaven, incense of the Harnamite to the stars. Ugarit, who carries water, spoke. "My father, you have made a sacrifice to the gods. You have sent incense up to heaven, incense of the Harnamite to the stars. Now bless me, that I may go with your blessing. Favor me, that I may go with your favor. I will kill my brother's killer, put an end to whoever put an end to my mother's son." Danel, the man of Rapau, replied, "Ugarit, with passion may you live, you who carry water, you who collect dew on your hair, you who know the course of the stars. May you kill your brother's killer, put an end to whoever put an end to your mother's son." She washed and put on rouge. She put on rouge of sea dye from 1,000 fathoms in the vast expanse of the sea. She put on a hero's clothes. She placed a knife in her sheath, and she placed a sword in her scabbard. And on top, she put on women's clothes. As sun, the god's torch went down, Ugarit entered the fields. As sun, the god's torch set, Ugarit arrived at the tents. Word was brought to Yatpan. "The woman we hired has come to your encampment. She has come to the tents." And Yatpan, the lady's warrior, replied, "Receive her. She'll give me wine to drink, and she'll take the cup from my hand, the mug from my right hand." Ugarit was received, and she gave him a drink. She took the cup from his hand, the mug from his right hand. Then Yatpan, the lady's warrior, said, "May the hand that killed Aqhat the hero kill enemies by the thousands." Twice she gave him wine to drink. She gave him wine to drink.